to amend the zone ordinance map to rezone a portion of Assessor's Plat 4 Lot 144 to BH Business Highway as shown on plan entitled Zone Change Map to John Russo dated September 2018, December 13, 2018, and January 3rd, 2019 for a second reading. And just so that everyone is aware of where we sit on this, the planning board has already weighed in and granted a lot subdivision, which created 2 lots on that property. And the council has taken the action of not granting easement and having the owner improve Carlton Avenue to the end of 225 feet, in which the owner of the land will pay to correct the road. And the last piece that we have is tonight is with the zone change. Everybody should have a copy of a report from the town planner and a report from the building inspector. Be your pleasure.
Mr. President, having received written memorandums from both the town planner and the building zoning official, would you mind asking the planner to give us I have questions, a synopsis for the public that may not have had the opportunity to read this? So if I may, I would like to, through you, ask the town planner to come up and give a verbal of his opinions.
Good evening. You're referring to the memo dated February 12th, right?
Correct. Yes.
From
you to the town council as well as the town administrator.
Right. What I did was I analyzed all the exhibits that were presented that evening. I was not present, so I also viewed all of the verbal testimony through the YouTube channel that Carl prepares. And I had analyzed 10 different exhibits as well as various testimony. And also incorporated some of the site inspection that was performed with Carrie and myself on February 4th. And I included 2 pictures from that inspection. I guess I'm really here to answer any questions you might have.
Thanks, Tom. I'd like to preface this by saying that I just have these questions. I need to have them clear because we're being asked to vote on a very contentious issue this evening. The number 2 point, you made it clear the exhibits are in no particular order. The number 2 point that you have, zoning section 16.9, zoning pages 6-28 through 6-34, end of opening sentence. This document is perhaps an old version of the ordinance as it appears dissimilar to the one online for the town. Is that correct?
Right.
Okay. I have here a printed copy that I printed out a year ago while working on the zoning ordinance review committee, and it's duplex printed on both sides. I'm sure maybe fonts on the website are different, but this particular one of my hard copy goes from page 635 to page 641. 7 pages, but there is a difference in the pagination. Okay, what is dissimilar in this document? Can you tell us what was presented and what is dissimilar?
No, I'd have to get the ordinance that I have to be able to do that. Yeah.
I haven't. Okay, so on the next page, Tom, you want to indulge me? And of course, we talk about state planning and zoning enablations. The second paragraph from the bottom. The planning board's positive opinion regarding the zone change stems from the notion associated with generating tax revenue for the town in a manner that seemed consistent with the comprehensive plan and innocuous from a land use perspective. Do you mind explaining what innocuous from a land use perspective, what that train of thought was?
Yeah, I really need to read the next sentence, which kind of elaborates on that. From a town-wide perspective, allowing existing commercial areas to expand incrementally is generally least invasive to town customers. So what I mean by that is if you were to propose, let's say, highway commercial somewhere midway down Black Plain Road, that would be a really tough sell. But if it's in an area like this is located, where there's business neighborhood, business highway, it's on 102, which is the highest traffic carrying group in town. The planning board was of the opinion that, yeah, maybe this is the right way to incrementally, literally contiguous, let that type of commercial growth expand.
Okay, I don't know if it's contiguous or step by step, but to me it's more like a domino theory, but that's the way I look at it. So the first couple of sentences, so I have to pose this to you. During the planning board deliberation, did the planning board discuss the negative effects on residential valuation? Is that at all brought up in your minutes?
I'd have to look at the planning opinion that you already had in the record there. I do have it, but
Do you have recollection today?
to look at the tax.
Yeah, so in essence, everybody's for commercial development. We know that that brings in, there's really not too many children getting on a school bus for commercial development. But when you compare it to residential, and if a residential piece of property gets changed to commercial, what is the effect on the abutting residential properties? Are they diminished? Do they lose some of their value?
We didn't perform that type of analysis.
Okay. The last sentence in that same paragraph, from a townwide perspective, allowing existing commercial areas to expand incrementally is generally least invasive to residential constituents. Yeah, I would say it's least invasive at that time, but slow expansion is still expansion. You don't eat the elephant, you eat it one bite at a time, or death by 1,000 cuts, however you want to see. I guess I'm looking at it differently than the opinions that are stated here. The last paragraph, you talk about compelling testimony from Mr. Michael Marston, and it talks about RUSSO Automotive Facility, which also contains a home on the parcel, is assessed at less than its residential property, which contained a modest ranch-style home. And you give the respective numbers and the values, and then you say recently, subject to reevaluation by town, is now valued, talking about the commercial, which was $235,900. It's been reassessed to $348,800. Is that correct?
Right.
Okay. And that was done in the last evaluation period.
Right.
See on that same page, Tom, do you have a hard copy with you?
Yeah.
You do? You see the second photo there? It shows traffic on Route 102.
Right.
To your knowledge, if you look to the right of the delineated curbstone there are vehicles parked. Is there a certain amount of requirement of vehicles being set back from a major state road which has delineated concrete curb there?
Vehicles, I don't believe. Typically, the setbacks are regulating principal structures.
I'm sorry.
Principal structures on the property.
Yeah.
That's typically what has to sit inside the building as well.
So does ASHTO get involved in setback on vehicles on a state road or a federal road?
They may. For example, just by way of 288 Quaker Highway, the church that was just constructed, they received a lease agreement with DOT to park vehicles within the state right-of-way. That property, technically that property has been improved. Some of it lies within the state right-of-way. Such a wide right-of-way that DOT in that case, because the petitioner had to approach them, yeah, they worked with that applicant. But I can't say that had ever been petitioned here. You know what I mean? I don't know if these vehicles have ever, I don't know if the Russos ever approached DOT or had an issue with them.
So the church that's on 102, when you say they are leasing property
On Quaker
within the
Highway.
state's right away?
Yes.
Okay, and the state has allowed them for a fee or consideration to park vehicles
Yeah,
there?
it's a nominal.
Tom, thank you very much.
Yep, thanks.
Anyone else have questions?
Tom, I have a question. When the planning board was making its recommendation, what decisions went into it over business highway versus business neighborhood? How did it come to the conclusion to pass forth with the business highway?
You know, they didn't look at the other types of commercial that are available. They took the applicant at their request, and they didn't analyze different commercial districts. They just dealt with the request of PH at the end.
And then to follow up with that, what about like the environmental impact? Just because it is in the aquifer overlay district,
Yeah,
did
yeah.
that come into consideration?
Yeah, I mean, if you've seen the aquifer overlay zone map, you know, as part of this exercise, and I guess the term would be, that would be a rabbit hole. If you went down that track of trying to analyze what could potentially be an environmental issue based on proposed commercial use, which again, Mr. Russo's telling us he wants to expand a commercial property. He doesn't want to continually expand the automotive use. So I guess we're taking him at his word and saying, okay, so if he expanded that plaza in the context of all the regulations that exist currently that the planning board has to look at, like I told you further in the memo, on the planning board analyzes all these things, we would just have to assume that we're going to protect the environment through new engineering, stormwater management, and for those reasons, the planning board didn't get into speculating on what could be environmental degradation. The aquifer is important. The aquifer protection zone, if a use comes knocking that the community really does view as threatening, that's when you really use it and lean on it. So, but in this case, they didn't feel that was necessary. I do have that opinion in here. I know, I think it was even prior to the election that was submitted technically, the planning board opinion.
Thank you, Mr. President. Tom, the council's facing a pretty difficult decision here. I have the table of uses, and I know you're not the zoning official, but you are familiar with it, correct?
Yeah.
Okay.
Summarize, but
No, right, I have to highlight it. What's the time, though? So, Tom, I've highlighted business highway, it's juxtaposed next to business neighborhood. And if I start looking at some of the things, now, the aquifer recharge and the water concerns, that's all been well stated. But when I start looking at a number of the residents have also brought these points up in previous public statements. So when I look at business highway, and I'm on the 5.46.6, restaurants and entertainment. Yes, it's allowed to have a restaurant banquet facility. To me, I'm thinking about how intrusive, where's the table turnover, how many cars are coming and going, what's the lighting, what's the hours of operation. That's automatically allowed if this is passed. Restaurant drive-through, takeout, no inside dining, so you can have a string of cars. Yes, that's allowed. Restaurant drive-through, inside eating, yes, that's allowed. Nightclub, cabin, lounge, no adult entertainment, that's a special use. Lunch and cafeteria, I'm going to be brief.
these are all business highway, Paul?
Yeah, this
Okay.
is business highway, Tom. Business highway, lunchroom and cafeteria, accessory use to a permitted use with no exterior advertising, yes. Theater or concert hall, special use. Recreation, indoor commercial, yes. Special use. Health and fitness facility, yes. Engine repair, non-automotive, excluding heavy equipment, yes. Automotive fueling area, gas station, special use. And yet, I understand that zoning and planning is going to take a look at all this stuff. Sometimes we miss things. I just want this all on the record. Automotive car wash, yes. Automotive light repair garage, excluding bodywork, yes. Automotive heavy repair garage, excluding bodywork, yes. Automotive rental up to 5 cars, yes. Automotive rental up to 5 vehicles, yes. Automotive sales, yes. All these yeses mean, boom, they get their approval, this can happen. Package store, yes, where alcoholic beverages are sold. Funeral home or mortuary, special use. Radio television station, yes. Amateur radio antenna or less than 7 feet, yes, that's pretty much to all zones. Cellular communication array on existing structure of building, yes, we did want to look at that too. That's actually might be a good thing. Towers, though, up to 125 feet in height, yes. Selling communication towers, monopoles over 125 feet in height and up to 200 feet in height, subject to restriction in section 17, which is the site plan review. Special use. Special use, retail sales in an open lot. That would be a special use. Shopping center up to 15 acres, yes. Propane tanks, wholesale refilling station, special use. I mean, I'm getting tired of reading them off. There's more. There's more. And the reason I bring this up, Tom, and you're not clairvoyant, you can't really tell us what the applicant to this point has not been willing to tell us what the business would be. And those are my concerns. So that's why I went through that litany of yeses and special uses. So, and it's not directed at you, Tom. It's more or less if everybody appears to listen. Thanks. Thank you, Mr. President.
Yeah, but Paul, you mentioned all those things that are allowed in the zoning.
Yep.
But then you have to take the second piece of that, which is the Aquifer Protection Overlay District, which eliminates half of those things that you just read.
Yes.
And so we have to rely on the planning board and the town and the planner to go through that and evaluate that. Yeah, we don't know what's being built on that property right now.
I made that statement. Yep.
That's correct, and the applicant did state he's not going to expand the order of use, and coupled with what Paul just said about the applicant has said, it just doesn't seem like a big leap of faith, I guess, for the planning board, taking this forward.
A big leap of faith.
Right, it does not feel like a big leap of faith to approve the zone change.
Mr. Kraft, I'd like to ask you something. We have a comprehensive plan. In that plan, many of the things that were approved, the comprehensive plan is not in favor of. Why do we have a comprehensive plan if it's not being followed?
That's a.
We have a comprehensive, they all are studying.
I guess I would need more specifics to try to respond
In
to.
the comprehensive plan, I think the gentleman,
I mean, you just approved the new comprehensive plan. You're going to have a hearing on it again on the 18th, whereby you're going to analyze a number of zones. Rock talked about that. So I guess you're talking about the new plan to draft?
just the application of the old plan, anything that deals primarily with the environment,
Yeah.
to me, can't change that much. If not, to me, it should be even tougher.
You know, it's all a matter of, things are taken on a case-by-case basis. I mean, I guess what can't be understated is the fact that the planning board and zoning board have the ability now to review projects like this, and they have to measure them up to the aquifer overlay, like Paul said, and all the new DEM regulations that are out there for stormwater management. There's been advancements in things called, low-impact development, or LID, and where they're trying to infiltrate stormwater, both purify it, and as well as address quantifiable increases from development. So there's so much that goes into a project that I guess the environment and how it's affected is something that I trust. You got to trust innovation and site work too to address things. I know I'm speaking generally here, but we're both kind of having that conversation. I did find the planning board opinion. It's actually dated August 16th. That was when it was given to the council. I'm sorry.
August 16th.
Yeah.
And this was actually a two-pronged application. One was to subdivide, a minor subdivision of what is currently residential property, which at the time really there was no hardship or economic hardship explained or expressed. And I'll say it again, Tom. I said it. I believe the gentleman's name was Mr. Pimento. He was someone came in to speak for the applicant, and I think he called it a bizarre lot. And I said it's one of the goofiest lots I'd ever seen that was approved by the planning board. And yet in there, they talk about access from Route 102 to the residential piece. That's why it's Carlton Avenue. Was that the findings that Mr. Benoit and Mr. Naylor came up with? Voted on, I think there was a motion second.
Yeah, in favor of the road extension.
Yeah, right, road extension, okay. But they also talked about ingress egress from Route 102.
Well, of course, if and when a project moves forward.
Talking about the residential, that was the reason for that, I don't know what it's called.
Oh, yeah, well, of course, I mean, the applicant did not want to apply for variance. So the planning board let that lot configuration go by. And I stated that night. And I agree with that, and we all had the same conversation. I had the same conversation since August with Mr. Russo that this lot is kind of funky looking, and I understand you don't want to go to the zoning board, but it's fine. You know, I guess the lot shape, the planning board didn't put that as a high priority as a concern, I guess.
But knowing that the second part of that application was for a zoning, redistrict, zone change, correct?
Right.
Okay.
And that too, at the time, that lot was a butterfly-shaped lot. As residential at the time, could have served and created a buffer to the east too, technically.
Anyone else have a question, Mr. Kravitz?
Mr. President, just a point of information. You mentioned the comprehensive plan. Any action by the council that would be positive would normally require an acknowledgement of the planning board's opinion, and usually an incorporation thereof. So the comprehensive plan has to be considered by the council. There was some discussion about the comprehensive plan. It has to be considered by the council, and the planning board has considered it, submitted their findings to the council. It's up to the council to decide to accept those findings. Right, as the administrator said, their findings were positive, that it was consistent with the comprehensive plan. So you can disagree with them, but that's their findings.